Okay. So today, first we would discuss the opening period function in MDX. So opening period is a function which is mostly used for financial calculations. Sometimes there are periods like in a fiscal year or something, and you want to see what was the metric in the beginning of that period. So that is when we use the opening period function. So, so if I execute this query, you can see that I've specified only opening period, nothing else. So it is returning me FY 2005. So why is it returning FY 2005? So let me open up the solution, and only then I'll be able to explain why it is returning FY 2005. So we are working on this solution. Okay. So what it is doing is it is going to the dimension with type time. Okay. Out of these dimensions, it is going to the dimension which has a type time. So it is going to this dimension, and in this dimension it is going to the first hierarchy. Which is the first hierarchy? The fiscal hierarchy. And opening period, by default, by default it goes to the first hierarchy of the time dimension. And opening period is the first member in that hierarchy. So in this hierarchy, whichever is the first member, that is what it is returning, FY 2005. So if I go here, and if I go to fiscal, and the first member is FY 2005. So that is why it is returning me FY 2005 when I only specify opening period. But usually you won't use opening period like this. You will specify some parameters or something while using opening period. So next, that is what we have done. I've written select opening period, and here I have specified a hierarchy level, calendar hierarchy and month level. So this is the date dimension, calendar hierarchy and month level. So I'm saying return me the opening period at the month level of the calendar hierarchy. Okay. So when I'm running this query, you can see it's returning me January 2005. So if you go to the date dimension, and to the calendar hierarchy, and this is the month level. So which is the opening period at this month level? So you can see the first member, it returns the first member at this level, which is January 2005. Okay, so in the next query, what we have done is in opening period, um, we have specified a particular year. So this is how you actually use opening period. So you specify a particular fiscal year and find out what is the what is the value of a measure in the opening period of that fiscal year. So here in this case, in opening period I am passing the fiscal year 2000. Sorry. In here, I'm passing the fiscal year 2008 in the opening period function. So for fiscal year 2008, which is the opening period at the month level. So if ideally it will return me what is the first month for fiscal year 2008. So it will return me the first month for fiscal year 2008. So when I run this query, see, it is returning me the first month of fiscal year 2008, which is July 2007. If I would have written here quarter, it would have written me the first quarter of fiscal year 2008. So let me take quarter here. So this will return me the first quarter of fiscal year 2008. You can see this is returning me the first quarter of fiscal year 2008. Now similarly to opening period, we have a closing period as well. Like in opening period, if you specify month and the fiscal quarter, it returns you the first month of that fiscal quarter. Similarly, for closing period, if you specify month and the fiscal year, it will return you the last month of that fiscal year. So here, if we go here, so this is returning me the last month of fiscal year 2008, which is June 2008. From July 2008, it will be fiscal year 2009. So this is returning me the last month of fiscal year 2008. So opening period and closing period, if you are trying to, if you are using a fiscal year and you don't know when the fiscal year starts, when the fiscal year ends, you can, write a query dynamically to fetch the starting and the ending of the fiscal year using opening period and closing period. Now, there is another time intelligence function which we use is called periods to date. Okay, so I will discuss that. So here that you see that you have what we are doing is we are viewing the internet sales amount on columns, and on rows we are using periods to date. So in periods to date, um, let me first pass the month level. So in periods to date, first I pass a level of the hierarchy. So let me pass the month, and then I pass a member of that hierarchy. Okay, so here in periods to date, I'm passing the month level, and then I'm putting a comma and I'm passing 9 2007 is I think September 2007. Okay, I'm passing month and then I'm putting a comma and then September 2007. So what periods to date will do is it will return me all the months till September 2007 for the calendar year 2007. Okay, so it will return me all the months at all the months at the month level. Okay, it will return me all so periods to date. So it will return me all the months till September 2007. So it will return me January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September 2007. Starting from January 2007 to September 2007. So if I run this query, sorry, here I made here it works on based on this level. So for September 2007, I specified starting from the month level only, return me all the months till September 2007 for the month level. So that is why, so if I specify here year, then it will return me, if I specify here year, then it will return me all the months for that calendar year till September 2007. So whichever level you specify here, on that level it will work. So it will work on that level, and on that level till this member, it will return all the members till this member. So since I specified month here, so at the month level, so return me all the months till September 2007. So it is returning me only September 2007. But if I specify here calendar year, so at the year level for September 2007, who is the parent at the year level? That is 2007. So for 2007, it will return me all the months till September 2007. So which is starting from January 2007 to September 2007. So this will return me all the months starting from January 2007 to September 2007. So for this calendar year, so if I change this from September to let's say April, January, February, March, April. So this will return me only January till April. See, January, February, March, April. Okay, so at this level, what it will do is it will go to the parent at this level. For this member, it will go to the parent at this level and then return all the uh, uh, for this member, it will go to the parent at this level and then return all the members in that level till this member. So if I change this to quarter, so you can see what will happen. So what it will do is for April 2007, it will go to the parent of April 2007 at the quarter level. Okay, it will go to the parent of April 2007 at the quarter level, and for that quarter, it will return all the months till April 2007. See, April, why it is returning me only April 2007 is because for which is the parent of April 2007, which quarter? January, February, March, first. It's the second quarter of 2007. So it is going to the second quarter of 2007, and there it is returning all the months till April 2007 for that particular quarter. So if I return here, if I write here 5, it will return me April and May. Okay, it does return me April and May. If I write here 6, it will return me April, May, June. Okay, April, May, June. But if I write here calendar year instead of quarter, it will return me then January to June. So if I write here calendar year, it will return me January to June. So this is based on both these combinations. Based on both these combinations, it returns you the members. Okay. So now similar to so in periods to date, the level here, like here I can specify calendar year, calendar quarter, or calendar month. So it will go to the parent at that level and then return all the months at that level. Okay, till the member specified here. But the level here is flexible. Like if you want, you can specify something else, whatever. You can specify calendar year, calendar quarter, whatever you want. But there is a function called YTD. It is year to date. In this case, this particular level is fixed. So it is fixed at year. You cannot change it. For YTD is same as periods to date, but in periods to date, this level is flexible. So you can choose different options. But for YTD, the year level is fixed. So you only pass this month there in YTD. So, and then what it does is for that month, it goes to the parent at the year level, and for that year, it returns all the months till the month specified. So here, if you run this query, so this is 2008 and this is May 2008. So it will return me all the months from January 2008 to till May 2008. See, January to May 2000. Okay, so these were some of the time intelligence functions. One second. Okay, so now what we'll do is, I will just discuss a few examples of calculated members which you might have to create while working as a developer in SSAS Cube. So I will just create some examples, and then I will create a KPI. Okay. So sometimes what happens is like we discuss the period student fund. Sometimes you need to calculate a running total. So running total is a type of calculation where, let's say, you have a sale for January 2007. So for January 2007, you have a sale of $1,000. Then for February 2007, you have a sale of $2,000. So for February, instead of showing $2,000, it will show January amount plus February amount. So it's kind of a cumulative thing. Like it will show 2,000 plus 1,000, 3,000 for February. For March, again, you have $1,000. So for March, it will show January plus February plus March. So 1 plus 2 plus 1. So 3 plus 1, 4. So for March, it will show $4,000. So so it kinds of cumulates the value over the period, and then it will do like that till December, and then from January it will again reset, and then again it will start from. So that is a running total. Okay, a running total is a calculation where you're adding the values one after another every month. So you are keep aggregating those values. So sometimes what happens is we have requirements where you might have to create a running total. So I have given an example how you can create a running total. So I have written an MDX expression which does this thing. Okay, so here I'm using with member running total as, and I'm using the aggregate function. So here I'm using periods to date, and I'm passing the calendar year here, and then I'm passing the calendar dot current member. So whichever month I pass to this current member, I can pass any month to this current member. So for that month, it will take all the months in that calendar year. So let's say for current member, if I pass July 2006, So then it will return me this expression, sorry, this expression will return me from all the months from January 2006 to July 2006. Okay, and for this period, for all these months, I am aggregating the reseller sales amount. So whichever month I pass, for that month at the calendar year level, I am returning all the months till that month, and then I'm aggregating the reseller sales amount for those months. What the aggregate function does is, in your cube, whatever aggregate function you have specified, so it will aggregate based on that. So for reseller sales amount, the aggregate function is sum. So it will just add the reseller sales amount for those months. So here if you go to here, you can see reseller sales and reseller sales amount. You right click and go to properties. You can see the aggregate function is sum. So it will do a sum of reseller sales amount for those months. Okay, and then I am passing the reseller sales amount and this running total measure that we have created on columns, and then on rows I am passing all the months. So for each month it will do this calculation. So you can see here that let's take up, so starting from January 2006, you can see the reseller sales amount and running total is same. For February, this is the reseller sales amount and the running total is this plus this. And for March, this amount is this plus this plus this. And for April, this is this plus this plus this plus this. So this will keep on adding till December 2006, and then for January 2007 again it is reset. Why? Because here I've used periods to date and calendar year. So for every year when we take January, this will return only January month of that. This will return January of that year only. Like for 2007, this will return only January 2007. For February 2007, it will return January 2007 and February 2007. So that is how it does the calculation. Okay, now another calculation that we have, that is called that you might come across, is percent of total. So what happens is you are always when you're working in multidimensional cubes, you will always work in hierarchies. So sometimes what happens is you might have to create calculations where the users might want to see the percent of sale of a particular product or a particular territory with respect to all the territories. Let's say you have different sales territories. So your user might want to see what was the percent of sale in one particular territory with respect to all territories, or what was the sale of one particular product with respect to all products. So, and that they might want to view it as a percentage. Okay, percentage of sale of that in that of that sales territory divided by the sales of in all the territories. So what was the percentage of sale in that territory? So that kind of calculation sometimes we need to create. So how we can create that is we call it as percent of total. Okay. So here I've created that kind of a calculation. So I'm using with member percent of total, and I'm passing the reseller sales amount, and then divided by the sales territory is a dimension here, and here I've created a tuple. So sales territory dot all sales territories, comma reseller sales amount. So this tuple will return me the reseller sales amount of all sales territories. So in this calculation, this will return me the reseller sales amount of a particular sales territory, and this will return me the reseller sales amount for all sales territories. So when I divide them, I will get the percentage, and I'm formatting it as percent. Okay, so this expression will give me the reseller sales amount of a particular sales territory with all sales territories. And then I select reseller sales amount in percent of total on columns, and on rows I specify the country and all sales territories. So you can see here that I'm specifying the country level, and for each country like France, Germany, United Kingdom, this is the reseller sales amount. And I'm dividing the reseller sales amount of France with the reseller sales amount of all sales territories. So what was the percentage of sale in France with respect to all? So I'm dividing this value with this value, all sales territories, and showing it as a percentage. So similarly for United States, this was the sales amount, and the sales amount for all territories was this. So when I divide these two and I get the percentage, the percent is this much. So you can see here, so let's say was the sale in France. This was the sale in France, and I divide it with the sale in the entire world. Okay, so this into 100 because I am displaying it in percentage. So you can see this is the percentage and I'm rounding off to two decimal places. So I'm showing 5.73%. Okay. So what this is showing is, this is showing me the percentage of sale in France with respect to the entire world. Okay. Now here, in this measure, I am displaying the percent with respect to total. Sometimes what happens is in your calculations, you might have to calculate instead of percent of total, you might have to calculate and display the percent with respect to the percent of parent. So with respect to your parent, what is your percentage? So in case of sales territory, if you see, where is the sales territory dimension? Here. In case of sales territory, a hierarchy, if you see, so I have France here. In the previous calculation, I was dividing the sale of France by the sale of all sales territories. So it was a percent of total. Now I want to display whatever is the sale of France divided by what the sale is in Europe. France's immediate parent is Europe. So instead of dividing it by all sales territories, I will divide the sale of France by the sale in Europe. So that will give me the percent of parent, percent of France's parent. Okay. So how will I write the MDX for that? So here, uh, so here I'm writing with measures percent of parent as. So here I have to handle one condition. So here is case when sales territory dot current member dot level dot ordinal equal to 0, then 1. So this is nothing but for handling this particular member, which is all sales territories. So for every member in this hierarchy, you have a parent. Like for France, its parent is Europe. For United States, its parent is North America. But who is the parent of all sales territories? For Europe, the parent is all sales territories. For North America, parent is all sales territories. But for all sales territories, who is the parent? All sales territories does not have any parent. So for all sales territories, it will display as it will display as 100%. So one is nothing but 100%. So case when sales territory dot current member dot level dot ordinal is 0. So when you're at the topmost level, then the value is 1. 1 is nothing but 100%. So every hierarchy level has a number associated with it. So that is called an ordinal number. You can see current member dot level dot ordinal. So every level in a hierarchy has a number associated with it. The topmost level, which is the all level, there the ordinal value is 0. Then in the second level, the ordinal value is 1. Like at the for this hierarchy, for group, the ordinal value is 1. For a country, the ordinal value will be 2. And for region, the ordinal value will be 3. So it starts from the topmost level. For the topmost level, the ordinal value is 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, like that. So here when I say current member dot level dot ordinal equal to 0, I am specifying to this level. So when you are at this level, then the value is 1, which is 100%. Else, for other levels, when you are at other levels, then it will do the calculation. So what calculation it will do? It will divide the reseller sales amount for that member and divide it by that member's parents reseller sales amount. So this is also another tuple. There is also a tuple, and so it will divide reseller sales amount of that member divided by its parents reseller sales amount. So in case of France, this will return me the sales amount for France, and this will return me the sales amount for Europe. And I'm dividing them and then I'm displaying them as percent. Okay, so here I have reseller sales amount and percent of parent on columns, and on rows I'm displaying the group and then the all member. So if I run this query, you can see here this is the reseller sales amount of Europe, North America, Pacific, and this is for all sales territories. Now this is the parent of Europe. So this is nothing but this divided by this into 100. So if I go here, this, you can see this is percent of parent, this divided by this all, because Europe's parent is all, this into 100. So this will be the percentage, 13.51. So that is what it is displaying. So this is how you can do these calculations in MDX. Okay. Now, so now another thing that another requirement which you might come across is sometimes what happens is in your reports, mostly when you're creating reports out of the multidimensional cube, you will have a date filter. Okay, that is your most common, because users they want to filter the data, they want to view the data based on the date filter. So usually you will have a usually you will have a date filter where you can display the months or everything, and the user can select the month for which they want to view the data, and accordingly you will view the data. So sometimes what happens is, let's say if you go to your um, so let's say this is your date dimension, okay, and you go to your calendar here. Now you are displaying a filter in your report which displays all the months, and the user can select the month. The user can select the month to for the data to be displayed, for which month they want that data to be displayed. So here you have all the months here. So in our date dimension, we have only data till 2010. Okay, we only have data till 2010, but ideally in a production environment, you will have data till maybe 2020, 2030. So your date dimension will hold future dates as well, future months as well. So in that case, and let's say you're displaying all the months in your, let's say your user say, I want a month filter where I can select the month for which I want to display the data. So if you display all the months, even the future months, which let's say you're displaying January 2020, yeah, February 2020, the future months as well. That does not make sense. You will only need to display, months till the current month, though you have the future months in your date dimension. So in that case, you might have to write a customized MDX query to fetch only the months till the current month. And sometimes there can be a lower limit as well. Let's say you have previous 5 years of months in your date dimension, but the users are saying that no, no, I only want to see last 3 years months in my date filter. So from the current month, I want to see only last 3 years months. So for that, you can write an MDX query to fetch only the last 3 years months from the current month. So how you can write that MDX query is like this. So here I've written, taken a set and I'm ordering it, and here I'm using the str to member. So str to member is nothing but a string to member function. So what it does is you pass a string, and based on that string it will fetch the member corresponding to that string. Okay, so here what I'm doing is I'm passing a string and it will fetch the member based on that string. So in MDX we have a now function. Now is nothing but something like get date. Get date in SQL gives you the current date time. So now gives you the current date time in MDX. So what I'm doing is, so here when I do format now y, so this will give me the current year, which is 2015. So this expression format now y will give me 2015, and this format now M will give me the current month. So currently this is May 2015. So this will give me the number 5 for May. It gives you a number. It returns you a number. So it will give me 5. Okay. So this will give me this expression. This expression will return me date dot calendar dot month dot ampersand 2015 plus ampersand 2015 ampersand 5. So if you look at the structure here for any month, if you look at like February 2005, you bring here, you can see that date dot calendar dot month ampersand and then the year ampersand and then the month number. So similarly for the current month, so this will be 2015 and this will be 5. So this is what it is returning. It is returning me the current month, which is date.calendar.month ampersand 2015 ampersand 5. And from the current month, I only want to see the last 3 years months. So from the current month, it will go back to dot lag 35 positions. So it is go back to 35 positions. So from the current month, the last 3 years, and then I'm putting a range operator, and then again this will return me the current month. So current month dot lag 35 will give me the month which is 3 years back from the current month, and then I'm using a range operator and then passing the current month again. So it will return me all the months from the current month since the last um, 36 months, 35 months, including the current month. Okay. And then I'm ordering this set based on current member unique name in descending order. So my current in the list of months, my current month will display at the top. Current month will display at the top, then previous month, then previous to previous month, like that. And I'm selecting that on 1 and this on 0. Now if I run this query, I will get all the months from the current month since the last um, 36 months. But this will not give me the result because I don't have data for that in my date dimension. In my date dimension, I have data only till 2010. I don't have 2015 data. So this will go from May 2015 till the last 3 years, for which I do not have any data. So it will return me blank, but the query is correct. So it is giving me a blank result set. Why? Because I do not have data for that in my date dimension. But the query is correct. So if I would have data in my date dimension, then this would have returned me the last 3 years months from the current month. Okay, now this was a little bit of a complex MDX expression because you know you have to write the entire string for that member. So it's a little bit of a complex MDX expression, but you can sometimes we have requirements where we only want to display the months for which we have data in our fact tables. So in our fact tables, let's say you have data for the last 3 years only, and so you don't have future data. So based on your data in the fact table, you can write an MDX query which will only display those months for which there is data in the fact table. If there is no data, then that month will not show. So if there is no data, there is no point in displaying that in your date filter. So that is a simpler MDX expression. So I can write that using filter. So here I'm using with set as, and then I'm using filter. So here this will return me all the months where I put the condition reseller order count is greater than 0. So reseller order count will be greater than 0 only for those months for which there is data in the fact table. If for a particular month there is no data in the fact table, let's say if I go to 5 years back, in my fact table there is no data for 5 years back, there is only data for 3 years. So this that month will not return here because the reseller order count will not be greater than 0 because there is no data in the reseller table for that month. Okay, so those months will be filtered out. Only those months will be displayed for which there is data in the fact table. So that is a simpler way of writing the MDX expression, and then I'm ordering it based on unique name in descending order. Okay, so this will return me only those months for which there is data in the reseller fact table. So you can see here starting from June 2008, it will go till July 2005. So from July 2005 to June 2008, only this much months data is there in the fact table, and so it is displaying only these months. Okay. So these are the different examples of MDX. I think you might be these examples might be useful for you when you're working with MDX. So that is why I explained these examples. Okay, so the next thing that we'll do is we'll create a KPI in the multidimensional cube. Okay, so before we create a KPI, let's take a 5 minutes break and then we'll come back and then we'll discuss KPIs. So we are through with the MDX discussion, though it is not complete. Like MDX is a vast subject; it cannot be completed in a couple of days. But do you have any questions regarding what we've discussed? All right, so let's take a break for 5 minutes and then we'll come back and we'll discuss KPIs. Okay, all right. So let's discuss how we can create KPIs in the cube. Okay, so let us open the solution on which we were working. Okay, so in order to create a KPI, we need to go to this KPIs tab. Okay, so here we need to enter a new KPI, and I'll give it a name like internet sales. Okay, internet sales, and I will select the measure group on which this KPI will work, which will be fact internet sales. Now, in a KPI, KPI is nothing but a key. The full form of KPI is key performance indicator. So usually, you will take a metric which the business or your customers want to analyze. They want to analyze that metric with that they have a target. So whether that metric has achieved the target, if not, by how much it has missed the target, what is the status, what is the trend. So those kind of analysis we do in a KPI. So here we have in a KPI we have four important functions. So one is the value. Value is the actual value of that metric. Okay, then we have the goal. Goal is the target of that metric. So one is the actual value and one is the target. And then based on these two, value and goal, we have a status. Whether it has reached the goal, whether it has achieved the goal, whether it is above the target, or whether it is below the target, by how much it is below the target. So those kind of status analysis we do here. And lastly, we have a trend. Trend is nothing like but you analyze the trend, like that the metric that you're analyzing, what was its value in the last year, and you compare it with the present year value. So if it is increasing from the metric value, let's say you are analyzing sales amount. So sales amount, what was it in the last year and what is it in the same month, current year? Now, if it is more, then the trend is upwards. Trend is increasing. If it is less, then the trend is decreasing. So it's a down arrow. So those kind of analysis we do it here for trend. So for each of these, you need to write an MDX expression. So that is why I have taken up the KPIs after we did the MDX discussion, because in order to write these, you need to have a little bit of a knowledge in MDX. So what we'll do is, for value, we'll take the internet sales amount only. So I'll go to internet sales, and then internet sales amount. Okay. So for value, I have internet sales amount, and then goal. I have written all these expressions here in this file. I've written all the MDX. You can see goal, status, all the MDX expression I've written. So, okay, the name here that I have used is internet revenue for this KPI. So I will write this as internet revenue. Okay. So goal is actually in our KPI, what we have set as the goal is, let's say the current month is May 2015. So our goal for May 2015, what will be, whatever was the sale 1 year back, say in May 2014, whatever was my sale, so that amount plus 10% of that amount, that will be my target for my current month. So the target for my current month would be previous year month's value plus 10% of it. That will be my target for the current month. So how will I write that MDX expression? So here you can see that I have written the MDX expression for that. So I've already sent you the files. In that file that this is there. So IIF is nothing but the if else condition in MDX. So I'm checking the internet revenue value, which is I'm checking this particular value. So if that value is null, so let's say my the sales amount for a particular month is null, then the target will also be null. Okay, right? Let's say for a particular month, for January 2006, your internet sales amount is null. You don't have data for the internet sales amount for that month. So if you don't have the actual value, what is the point in having a target? Because value and target you will compare. If one of the values are missing, then you cannot compare. So that is that condition we are checking. If the KPI value, so if this value is null, then the target will also be null. If this value is not null, then if there is a value, then we will calculate the target. So the target will be 1.10 into, as I said, last year's value plus 10% of it. So that is why we are multiplying 1.10 with the previous year's value. So how we are getting the previous year's value? We are using a tuple KPI value internet revenue, and we're using a parallel period. So using parallel period, I'm passing the fiscal year. So I'm going to the previous year, fiscal year, and this is the current month. So the current month in the previous fiscal year. So for like it is in May 2000, May 2015 is the current month in this year. So in previous year it was May 2014. So what this will do is this will multiply May 2014's value with 1.10, and that will be my goal. So my value would be internet sales amount for May 2015. Goal would be internet sales amount of May 2014 plus 10% of it. Okay. Okay, so I'm going here. So I'll paste this in goal. Okay. So now status. Okay, so you have a actual value, you have a target value. Now you will compare both of them. So here in status, what we are displaying is if the actual value is have has reached the goal or is more than the goal, then we'll show it as a green. If the actual value has reached the goal or is more than the goal, then we'll show it as green. If the actual value has not reached the goal, but it has reached 85% of the goal, it has not reached, it is lesser than the goal, but it has reached 85% of the goal, then we'll show it as yellow. And if it is below than 85% of the goal, if it is below 85% of the goal, then we'll show it as red. So that is my status. So for that also we have written an MDX expression. So here first we are handling the null values. So case when is empty, internet revenue. So when the actual value is empty is we are checking for null values. So we are checking is empty KPI value when the actual value is null. When the actual value is null, or we are checking if the previous year's value is null. Because we are comparing the actual value and the target is coming from previous year's value. So if either of them is null, then we cannot do the comparison. So we are checking if the actual value is null or if previous year's value is null. Because if previous year's value is null, then the target will be null. So if the target is null, then again we cannot compare. If any of the two value and target, if any of them, either of them is null, then we cannot compare. So that is why we are checking that if either of them is null, then the status will also be null. Because if either of them is null, then we cannot compare. Else, when both of them have values, the actual also has a value and the target also has a value, then we are doing the comparison. When KPI value internet revenue divided by KPI goal internet revenue, so we are dividing the value by goal. Okay, then is greater equal to 1. Greater equal to 1 means that the value has achieved the goal or is more than the goal. That is why it is when you're dividing it, it is greater equal to 1. So it has achieved the goal or is more than the goal. Then 1. So 1 stands for green. Okay. When KPI value divided by KPI internet revenue is lesser than 1. So lesser than 1 means it has not attained the goal. It has not attained the target. And KPI value by internet KPI value by KPI goal is greater equal to 0.85. So it has not reached the goal, but it is greater equal to 85% of the goal. So then 0. 0 is nothing but yellow. Else minus 1. Minus 1 is red. So, which means that if it is not satisfying any of these two conditions, that means the value is lesser than 85% of the goal. Then it is minus 1, which is red. So we'll take this expression and we'll put it here. Okay. So I'll take shapes here. So trend I will discuss later. First, let me show you how this looks like, and then let me process. So once it is processed, somehow it froze. That is why I had to restart it. So I have this KPI now. Okay, it is processed. So now I can go to my browser view. Okay, so here I can, let's say, I can select my um, order date here, and I've selected the fiscal hierarchy in my expression. So I'll go to fiscal hierarchy equal, and then let's say I select a month, let's say fiscal year 2006, maybe any month. Let's say I select February 2007. So you can see here that this is the value for February 2007. The goal is this much, which is much more greater than the value, and so the status is showing as red. So now if I go to my browser and if I connect to Excel, okay, so you can see here that I have this KPI created, internet revenue, and I have the value here. Okay, so let me take the fiscal hierarchy for order date. Okay, okay, this is the value, and then this is my goal, and this is my status. Okay, now if I go to, let's say, FY 2008, so for each quarter, so this is my value, this is my goal, and if I go to, let's say, October 2007, so here in case of October 2007, this is my actual value, and this is my goal. So goal is nothing but October 2006 value plus 10% of it. So if you go here and quarter 2, you can see here October 2006 value is this much. So this plus 10% of it comes to this, and this is greater than this, so that is why it's showing as green. Here in this case it is showing as yellow because this value, which is of quarter 1 FY06, if you see here, this is quarter 1 FY06 value. So this value, sorry, quarter 1 FY07 value. So this value is lesser than this value but close to it, like 85%. So that is why it is yellow. So if I want to format this, one second. Again, my computer is freezing. One second. Let me reopen it. So if I open it here and let's say I take the order date hierarchy, and I take the value, and then the goal, and then I take status. Okay, so if I go here and if I go here, let's see. So here, if I go to here, then I go to number, the currency, decimal places 2. Okay, so you can see here that that is how you can do the comparison. So this 1396 1598, so this is quite close to it, but not reached it, so it's yellow. And you can see here that this and October 2007, this value 415, so this is actually this plus 10% of it, but this is lesser than this, so it's green. Okay, so now the last thing that we will discuss is trends. So in trends, what we'll do is we'll just compare this value with previous year's value. And if it is more than the previous year's value, then it will be an up arrow. If it is less than previous year's value, then a down arrow. And if it is equal to previous year's value, then a horizontal arrow. Okay, so for that also we'll go to KPIs. So you have the standard, we'll display the standard arrow only, and we'll go here and we'll take the trend. So here also, first we are checking for null values. So if the current year's value is null, or if the previous year's value is null, then we cannot compare, right? Then the trend is also null. Either the current year's value or if the previous year's value is null, then we cannot compare, so it's null. If both of them have values, then it comes into the picture. So if this is current year's value, if it is equal to previous year's value, then 0. 0 is a horizontal arrow. If current year's value is greater than previous year's value, if it is greater than previous year's value, then 1. 1 is an up arrow. and else -1. -1 is a down arrow. Okay, so we'll put this expression here and we process. Okay, now if I refresh it, you can see here if I go to KPIs, I have the trend as well. So now you can see here that for October 2007, I have a value of this, and this is comparing with October 2006. So it is greater than October 2006. So it's an up arrow. Uh, Similarly, for quarter 2 FY07, this is the value, and for quarter 1 FY06, quarter 2 FY07, this is the value. For quarter 2 FY06, this is the value. So which is more? This is previous year's value is more, so it's a down arrow. So this is how you can display the trend. So these are this is the way how you create KPIs in a multidimensional cube. Okay. So any questions or any doubts you have regarding what we have discussed? All right then. So we'll be ending today's session then. And I will so tomorrow will be the last session on multidimensional SSAS. Then after tomorrow we'll take up tabular SSAS. So tomorrow we will discuss like the security in multidimensional SSAS, and uh, how we can automate the processing of cubes and dimensions in multidimensional SSAs. So those two topics we'll discuss today or tomorrow, and then we'll take up tabular SSAs. All right, then I will end. I will upload the videos in OneDrive and drop a mail to you. Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time.